Hi, in this series of C++ interview questions, in today's session, we're going to learn about templates. And the question asked is, how many instances of mymax function will be created? Mymax is a user-defined function. It takes two parameters and basically writes the code to find out the largest of two elements. This particular function is implemented using the concept of templates, which has one parameter out here, one placeholder, and we have two parameters. Both the parameters have the same type. The type is t, okay, and it returns the type t. Now, when we write a template function, it does not generate any instance of this template function. Instead, when you try to call the function by passing arguments, it is going to determine what is the type of arguments, and it is going to instantiate, or it's going to create a mymax function of that specific type. And that is basically called as template instantiation. So if I have to give the definition of template instantiation, I say template instantiation is the process of generating concrete code by replacing these placeholders with specific data types, resulting in a set of template instances for different data types, right? Here, if I do not call this mymax, there is not even a single instance of mymax function definition created, okay? And then if I try to call here, you can just observe I'm calling this function 3 times, okay? So the question is, does it create 3 different instances? The answer is no. Here, it's going to create one instance for each type. First time, I'm trying to call mymax by passing 5 and 8, wherein the data type of 5 and 8 is integer. Second time, I'm invoking mymax by passing the value 2.3 and 5.3. Since 2.3 and 5.3 are of type double, any fractional values by default they are double. So since this is the first time we are encountering double, so it's going to create one more instance of mymax with double. But the third time when I'm calling it, now we already had created a mymax of integers in this first call. So it's going to utilize the same thing out here by passing the values 7 and 2. So there will be two instances which will be created. How do we verify that there are only two instances created, not three, right? First, let me just try to run this out here. I'm using a tool called as cpinsights.io, which will give you the internal details of the C++ code. So here's a template function. And here, when I basically, call these functions, once with integers and once with double, you can just observe it is creating one template instance of type integer. It is creating another template instance of type double. Clear? Okay. And this statement and this statement will call the first instance. This will call the second instance, which is of type double, right? And I also told you that if I do not write this code, then it does not create any instance at all. So you can just observe, since I'm not calling, it does not create any instance. If I just try to comment this particular line, I'm calling it twice, but both the types it is integer. You can just observe it's going to create only one instance, which is of type integer. There's one more way to understand this and also to execute this, right? So you can just click out there. It'll open this particular code in Compiler Explorer, where we can see the assembly code as well as you can also execute the program, right? So by default, it is showing you the assembly code. And here you can just observe line number 10. For line number 10, the assembly code generated from line number 9 to 14 out here. Here you can just observe it's using the call instruction and the function name is mymax of int, passing two integers, right? Now, for next one, line number 11 of the C++ code, the corresponding assembly code generated is from line number 15 to 22. It is basically calling double mymax, meaning mymax whose return type is double and the specific type is double. And the next one in line number 12 of C++ source code, and the corresponding assembly code out here is mymax with type integer, right? I hope the concept is clear. Thank you.